They'll be calling you a radical just when you think things can't get more insane. It's impossible to think in this whole Fukushima, nuclear, the insanity, it's all over. All I hear is radio goo goo gaga. These bloggers, fucking like an asshole. Everybody's got one opinion, and they're not even opinionated. The analysis, Fukushima's disaster, Fukushima's false flag, cuckoo, I mean, I'm the opposite of that. I'm a PhD, actually doing the fucking work. I'm completely the opposite of that. I'm fucking collecting data, hypothesis, and I do the fucking work. I'm completely the opposite. Right down to fucking leukemia in my body, the whole fucking works. I mean, but right when you think these kind of, here is the UK. I mean, I thought we were insane fools here. The UK, within hours of Westinghouse announcing their bankruptcy, completely gone, which Westinghouse is not even a company. I mean, that's the insanity of this. Westinghouse is not a company. Westinghouse got bought by Toshiba in 2006. Chicago Bridge is not a company. How are they still trading? They're Toshiba. One could go bankrupt, the other. Within hours of their bankruptcy, they announced, the UK, that Westinghouse has been awarded a contract to build a reactor, when Westinghouse is not even a company. Westinghouse is in receivership. Westinghouse, Toshiba's done, yet the stock, I mean, there's no political solution, there's no bloody revolution. I mean, how insane is this place? I mean, this country's gone. I mean, mentally ill. I don't give a fuck who watches. I can give a shit. I mean, you think about these loggers of blood, they're bowing to an AdSense account. They're bowing, I don't care if they got 200,000 subscribers. I mean, who gives a fuck? I mean, it's just gaga, blah, blah. It's not even worthless. It's, what a way to spend your life. Just sitting doing a vlog, fucking for every day, you know, bowing to an AdSense account, trying to hypothesize what the fucking goats want to be fed to make some chump change. Oh my God. I mean, I'm in the field doing the fucking work, and it doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Everything that I hypothesized and ever did, it's all factual. It's unarguable now. It's completely, the Pacific Ocean's in total ecological collapse and acute collapse. Fucking, as I hypothesized that, I took a lot of risk hypothesizing that. Of course, I took a lot of risk hypothesizing all this stuff. But it's not, I was right. That's simple. Fukushima's going out, it's going to cause a fucking catastrophe. The Pacific Ocean's going in the greatest fucking ecological acute collapse, and it's empirical fucking arguable data, and I'm going to start doing this every day now. This is day 222. By law, the Pacific Ocean and all the tributaries should have been emergency closed by law. The Endangered Species Act, doesn't matter about opinion, hyperbole, it doesn't matter. By law. You can't fudge this, by law. So the derelicts inside NOAA, inside Oregon Department of Fish and Game, Washington Fish and Game, the government officials, they need to be arrested. This is day 222 by law because of the acute collapse at this amount of a level. They went way under that 222 days ago. And it just gets worse. By law, they have to emergency close it, like they did the sardines and the anchovies. So, I mean, this whole insanity that Chicago Bridge could steal $14 billion fucking dollars and the American government doesn't care. That's how gone this place is. You know, the UK, they announced they're not even a company. So they go into receivership. So wait till you hear this. You don't think the Trump, he's going to drain the swamp? Wait till you hear this. This is, again, I mean, I cross over and wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats. This is investigative journalism. You know, I'm the activist. Oh, hell yes. Absolutely, I'm an activist that wins. I mean, the accomplishment, how about the shutdown of San Onofre? How about getting freaking Energy Solutions kicked out of Utah? Those are my freaking crowning jewels. I've been working on these my whole life. I mean, I set targets and I go for them and I do it. You know, I'm not Radio Gaga, spin art, fuck those people. They're fucking worthless, blah, 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 fucking opinionated assholes. They're fucking, I mean, what a way to spend your life. You know, you're Rush Limbaugh, you're not even that. I mean, at least he's moved a little bit of culture around, even though it's fucking meant negative or whatever. But fucking, they're pathetic. So, wait till you hear this. So, they couldn't make payroll. Westinghouse can't make payroll. So, what Bain Capital and these fucking firms do, they're private equity firms. They wait till a company's out of money, gone, fucking completely dissolved. You know, Mitt Romney on Balco, that's what they do. Inherited wealth fucking scumbags. So they take their money in, they buy up the company. And here's the flaw of the American tax code. And here's the flaw of the American bankruptcy laws. So the flaw, they know the flaw exists. So here's how it works. So they go in, they gave him $800 million. So they basically just bought Westinghouse for $800 million. It's theirs. They completely take control. They take it all. So by law, in the court dockets, they cannot use any of that $800 million to pay off any of the liability. There's the flaw. So they're protected. They're going to sue. So then it becomes a fight between the private equity firm and the liability of the people they owe in the reorganization, Chapter 11 fucking bankruptcy. These people want their money. So this is the flaw. This is the game they play. Well, get this. So the private equity firm's headquarters right next to Trump Towers. You want to talk to a conflict? I mean, all you investigative journalists, you want to get on this one? How about the Amway queen, who he named the billionaires, he named for his fucking Secretary of Education. Oh, yeah. She's involved with them heavily. They have her whole dime. She's worked for them. How about the head of the SEC? This is who he worked for. He got $7.6 million, I think, just last year alone in doing legal counsel for them in 1 year. Ha! Drain the fucking swamp, so Trump is Obama. I mean, they're both nuclear fucking crime syndicate. You think a Beeb shows up inside there, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Ha! That's all about the cover-up Fukushima, the Toshiba fucking gig. I mean, this is a nightmare. So, it's a scam. It's a shakedown, the nuclear crime syndicate. I'm an anti-nuclear activist. I'm a social inequality activist. I'm an artist. I mean, I'm in the street, the PhD. So, here now, everything I hypothesized, like I said, I took a lot of risk hypothesizing what I did. I mean, because I was either going to sound like the craziest fucker on earth, but it's unarguable proof now. The collapse of the Pacific Ocean, and here's the arrogance of these fucking, you creepy ass fucking air-sucking, earth-crawling, fucking regurgitating on YouTube fucking, I mean, worthless fucking waste of fucking skin. That's what you all are. I mean, all those fuckers. Blah, blah, blah. Fukushima's fucking the worst thing in the I'm about to, oh, Fukushima's a false flag. Fukushima, the tsunami had very little to do with it. G will tell you straight up, Mach 1, Mach 2, this is the university that built them at Fukushima. We're still waiting on the fucking, talk about scams, still waiting on the USS Reagan. I mean, how outrageous, and I'm going to say this to the fucking judges on the appellate court. You have 90 days to rule. The appeal of the appeal, was fucking oral arguments happened. It finished up on September 1st. What's today? What's today? It's insanity. You allow General Electric to read. They're suing General Electric. You allow General Electric a late date to keep filing motions. It's insanity. You cannot argue with my hypothesis anymore. I did all the fucking work. I proved it. I mean, Google Ted typos, you get Kevin Blanch. You Google fucking Megan Rice at the fucking trial, you get me. You Google all this fucking stuff, you get me, because I do the fucking work out on the street. I mean, I do the work. I mean, the field work for the PhD. Fuck, that's what PhDs do. I'm a PhD. That's what I am. I mean, I fucking hypothesize, then I go fucking do the fucking field work for 4 years, right down to it's going to give you leukemia, get leukemia, fucking given a death sentence. The first person in the world to survive AML, de novo, OS leukemia, willing without a bone marrow transplant. I'm the first one on earth. First one. It's a death sentence. In a bone marrow transplant center for a long time. Central line, I mean, the whole fight. I mean, what a story. What a story. At the time I'm single-handedly, I'm responsible for taking down the Blue Castle nuclear reactor. One guy. Without fucking me sending an offer, never close. Without me sending an offer, the waste goes on the beach, it's going to war. Without me, fucking Energy Solutions still piling up their shit right here. Ain't happening because of one guy. You know, I know all these people. I do all this fucking work. It's so outrageous. I mean, this is insanity. The greatest ecological collapse, you can argue with me now. The only argument we can have now is this. Okay, Kevin, you were right. Pacific Ocean went into acute collapse. So, it's just a coincidence that Fukushima happened, that happened. Okay, then you have to, on the devil advocate, and if you're going to, this is how a PhD defends the work. The other board will go to him, okay, then I will say right to the board, or whoever's fucking awarded the PhD, okay, then you prove to me, now the liability comes on you. Now you prove to me what it was then, because we know something acutely different happened. That's basic, fundamental fucking social science, fucking stats, fucking. We know it epically collapsed, the most acute collapse ever. More dead whales, more starving to death sea lions, more fucking collapse of the fucking salmon. The salmon or the canary, I mean, 5 years. Those hallowed beasts go. They're an epic collapse, the greatest year-over-year collapse happened in 2016. Prove me wrong. You can't. You can't, because the crate, and you're testing, I would say this to you fools that think you're going to test fish. I think you find you can't test. Number one, you don't even know what it is, and that's my work again, which I named it Fuktonium, FU. And you laughed at that, whatever. It's a new source. Livermore themselves comes out and says, we've collected, it's new. They've awarded 4 new fucking spots on the bottom of the periodic table. I came up with that first. They've said it straight up. It's Fukushima fucking has created something we don't even know. So you're testing. What the fuck are you testing for? Starvation? So how you, I mean, you eat up all seven, who gives a fuck? The bottom line is they're all dying. And, you know, on the verge of extinction. The California sea urchin, that's my work. I believe it's extinct. I mean, document all this. You know how much work I put into this? You have any fucking clue. And thank you to everybody who's sponsored this historic work with these small subs of money. It's incredible. It's historic. It's incredible historic, and it will stand in time as history. It'll stand as the greatest PhD in human. And sadly, I didn't want to be right. I didn't want to be right. Sadly, I was fucking right. You know. I'm beyond blown away. Heartbroken, beyond heartbroken. I'd like to say all you arrogant fucking air-sucking, earth-crawling fucking feigny fucking goats, boogeyman fucking fake phony creeps. This. It ain't about you. It's never been about me. What about the mammals that have already been murdered? What about the fucking wells that you've already murdered, Fukushima? This well that just washed up in fucking Washington again is starved to death. Sucked up in a humpback. It's happening. It's happened so much. Fucking, what about the seals? Huh? They're just like us. What about all these mammals? What about all the fucking dead eagles? What about all the dead fucking mirrors? What about the dead sea lions? I mean, epic. I mean, by the fucking hundreds of thousands. I mean, the greatest ecological collapse to the great, our mother, you know, and all her children inside her, you know. It's an epic fucking story. It's an amazing story. My place in fucking, it's sad. How can this be? How can this be? Westinghouse awarded, and what the fuck? The Towers of Babylon. You know, these fucking nuclear reactors, we don't use them, nuclear fuck away. I mean, these catastrophes from hell, and these fuckers, and then Trump's gonna give them more fuck. This is a backdoor bailout of Westinghouse through the Trump administration. All kinds of ties with this private equity firm. Fucking Trump administration, Trump has all kinds of ties with these guys. I mean, conflict, you think that's a coincidence that Beeb's the first one in there? First one in Trump Towers. Then they fly to Florida where he goes and plays golf every weekend for 3 days. Blacked out the windows, couldn't get no media. And he talks about fake fucking news. And, you know, who gives a fuck about fake news? People, it's First Amendment. You know, I should be able to have the right to say anything you fucking want. I don't give a fuck what CNN makes up. I don't give a fuck what Fox makes up. I don't give a fuck what any of you feigning goats fucking make up. I'm the opposite of that. I fucking said something. You go through everything. Anytime I said I'm going somewhere and doing something, I always do it, don't I? Anytime somebody asks me to do the fuck, I always do it, don't I? Anybody fucking says, oh, you're on, I fucking prove it, and I back it up. Physically prove it. You know, going fuck dead tide pools? I mean, I walked from Mexico to San Francisco. Now, you think about that. Think about it. Fucking full of leukemia. Sleeping on a sleep bag. It took me 4 fucking chunks to do. Oh, I fucking did it. You have any clue how hard that is to do? That's not walking the Pacific Trail. You know, Astro dies on the fucking trail. No, think about that. Parts of it are almost impossible. I mean, oh, I did it. I watched it with my own eyes. Physically fucking documented everyone. I mean, from Mexico all the way up, these pools, I mean, they're empty. You look at the work I did last year in December, Carmel Chris and I at fucking Monterey. I was sleeping on the floor in Castroville with a fucking bunch of Mexican pickers. That's where I slept. That's where I stayed. You know? Pretty amazing. I mean, the investigative journalism that I've done, the fucking work that I've done, the Cassandra-like fucking hypothesis that I've been correct. I defend my work. I hypothesized it. Fukushima happened. I knew. Look, it's like this. G will tell you straight up. They will tell you. These Mach 1s and Mach 2s are built to handle as high as a 7.8 earthquake. That's it. And it has nothing to do with tsunami. Anything over that, they will tell you. The cores will crack and the fucking free radicals and the fucking nuclear fission event will fucking be on, and it will be released into the atmosphere. They'll blow up. This was a 9-point earthquake. 9. They said when I remember this was the fight that was going on when these things were evolving. The fight was going on. Well, that's not high enough. 7.8 at San Onofre. You know, it has nothing to do with the fucking tsunami. Nothing really. The tsunami made it worse, absolutely, but it blew up before the tsunami even hit. These fucking cores cracked. They're called spent fuel pools. The way it sits, they're like swimming pools. The fucking fuel pools crack. The water runs out. The fission cuts out. They're called Zerk fires. They fucking catch on fire. I have visual proof, documented visual proof of all this blowing up multiple times. When it blew up on June 14th, I have visual fucking proof. When it blew up on fucking May fucking 20th, fucking 2014, I have visual proof. When it blew up the summer of fucking 2013, when I'm fighting with the U.S. Reagan, standing in front of the U.S., don't let those kids on that fucking boat. I do the fucking work. It's an incredible story. The amount of fucking work, and I think in fucking Vienna, right in their fucking face. You know, the things that I've done, it's impossible. And I've done this with this teeny money, and I want to say thank you to every single person who has supported this historic work. No matter what you think of me, how it's evolved, I mean, your donations, I mean, our little group, I mean, it's, what a historic, I mean, I hypothesized it's going to happen. It's going to give you leukemia. I stood right, it's going to give you leukemia, and then I got a stomachache one day, 7 months later. Now we know the plume hammered right here. All the FOIA docs, and I want to say this to Dana too. Thank you for your classroom to Dana, and I hope somebody gets this to Dana and says, this guy, fuck, it's amazing his fucking wealth of knowledge on this. And his classroom that he's developed, and he sits in that classroom, that he's created that virtual classroom online, and he educates, and he reminds me of those great old professors who stood right in these fucking rooms at Weber State, just like I did. They throw chalk across the room, they don't give a fuck you want. He'll tell you, you stupid fucking dumb fucker. He's exactly like the great old professors who raised me. When I taught, I was the same way. I mean, what a classroom he's got. How many people is he educating? He's on the money. I mean, oh, is he on the fucking money? I mean, what a fucking education he's given people. You know, talk about a fucking Nobel Prize. Me oh my. Wow. So, it's not the idea to paint the soup can, or is it the idea to paint the soup can? But then you really have to paint the fucking soup can. It's not about opinion. Everybody's got one of those assholes. We don't give a fuck about your radio, go blah blah, and your fucking bullshit AdSense account, you get some chump change. What a pathetic way. Look, when I worked, I mean, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. You know? The fact is this, simply. I hypothesized the day Fukushima happened, screamed and yelled, oh my God, no, 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 this is our worst fears. I knew as soon as I saw it was a 9, these cords were cracked and blew up and the jet stream was hammering us. It's going to give you leukemia, it's going to give you leukemia. Right here, I'm fucking right here in South Ogden, Utah, which we know hammered. I got hammered, a whole big group of us got AML leukemia at the exact same time. My Dr. Fimbo and type of the LDS East State Bone Marrow Transplant Center, they will tell you straight up. She will tell you, Celeste, who ran the fucking unit, Kevin Blanch is the only red 10 who went in. That's how they rank you. He's the only one in the history of the unit to walk out. Vincent saved my fucking life. I was sent home to die with hospice. I found a YouTube video with 14 views. They went in through my hip, dug in through my hip, right here. Vincent Hansen dug it out, fucking, and a San Diego girl dug it out, and they're like, he saved my life, because he knew me since I was a boy. My uncle, the neurosurgeon. Fucking, those two fucking argued. They overruled. They went in and did the biopsy. Fucking Silverman had it wrong. I went into that unit in a death sentence. I did this in a very unique fucking car. Yeah, I didn't throw the chemo out, and I did it fucking with chemo and holistic fucking vitamin C injections. I never ate a hamburger for 4 fucking years. Walking, the intense fucking fight. I mean, Neupogen shots in my stomach every fucking day. You know, what I was going through was incredible. It was intense. You know, drank Pico de Gallo every fucking day. Raw organic food every day. That much carrot juice every fucking day, you know. I hiked 6 or 7. I would fight fucking all the way up top of Waterfall 3 times a week. That's 6 miles straight up 10,000 fucking mountain here. I mean, what a fight. You know, defending the Pacific Ocean, I'm like, I fight for her, I know who my mama is. You know, I'm not going to sit back and let these creeps gang rape my fucking mother. I'm going to fight back. You know, and you fucking derelicts who stood by and did nothing when you're paid to do it, you government employees, you make a living off of it, go fuck yourself. I hope every one of you get fucking locked up. Dana's right when he goes on his fucking tirades about you scumbag motherfuckers. Because that's what you are. And we're going to record, and all you douchebags, fucking all of you, I don't give a fuck how many security, who it's okay, you know, who gives a fuck about your bullshit, stupid opinion? You're going to tap into some dogma because this fucking contemporary culture's fools. This isn't about, we could give a fuck. We're recording and documenting fucking history. Fucking doing the greatest PhD in history, using what genre we have. As the artist, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Fucking, I'm an environmentalist, I want to go block a fucking pipeline, you know, for summer vacation. I'm a butcher, what's a cow? I'm a baker, what's a cake? I'm a fisherman, what's a boat? I'm an environmentalist, what's Fukushima? Do you think you can fucking dump this? These correction for it had nothing to do with the tsunami. I mean, the tsunami made it worse. They've dumped water, you got fucking full blown out meltdowns. These buildings blew to fucking smithereen. I have reported as 11 fucking meltdowns immediately. Because I knew there were 7 units of Fukushima. I was saying it was going to happen Fukushima fucking many decades before it happened. Because I knew they were Mach 1s, Mach 2 built on earthquake. Just like I said, San Onofre and Diablo. Why do you think I've hammered so hard at getting rid of San Onofre? The jet stream moves left to right. You know, I know Allison McFarland, and I know every one of these major players personally. They know me. The NRC all knows me personally. All these fucking players know me personally because I travel and I do the fucking work, and I have for decades. You know, I call them out on their shit. You know, I record their fucking lies in history. You know, so it doesn't matter, you're fucking blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, record yourself in history, you fucking fools. You recorded yourself in history and you look like the dumb fucking... So the fuck did I. Stan Tunit, the greatest PhD in human history, fucking sadly was right. Arrogant fucks.